Central African Republic. Can you describe or put a human face on that conflict for us, Gail?
That's right. I've been working in various emergency settings with Doctors Without Borders for years, and this has been a level of trauma and of conflict unprecedented. And it starts the minute one leaves the airplane at Bangui International Airport. There, 60,000 people have taken refuge, people from the capital city who have told me that it's just not safe enough to stay in their homes. I think what really struck me the most is the fact that everybody has been affected. This violence is indiscriminate. So in the camps, we were working with nurses, doctors, lawyers, even the professor of philosophy at the local university has had to move himself and his family to live in the camps under appalling conditions.
This campaign, Gail, is really about putting the Central African Republic on the map for ordinary South Africans who somehow feel a little bit distanced, a little bit removed from the horror of the conflict on the ground there. Now, how important is it for us to instill a heart connection with those in the Central African Republic to actually affect change there?
Incredibly important. I think as concerned African citizens, we all have a role to play. That's not necessarily to say everybody has the chance to go there and to help. I played the role of psychologist by volunteering my time there. But every South African can help. By donating just 100 Rand, you can provide 200,000 litres of safe water for the people living in the camp there. And it struck me how enthusiastic people were about South Africa. The people in the camp were very excited to hear that I was South African and certainly felt a kinship. And I do feel that this is an African problem and African action needs to be taken.
Of course, having said that, we saw the French sending in just under 2,000 troops to restore order in a country roughly the size of France. Then we had a very stagnated, slow response from the European Union. In fact, they only decided yesterday to send in troops, only 1,000, with no set time frame. Speaking of the misery that you were faced with, how important, surely this points to a need for a more robust international response on the ground, Gail?
Absolutely, and even for our own operations, what we require is a basic level of security in order to function. What we're seeing is, up until now, it has not been good enough. Our teams themselves are faced with conflict on a daily basis. So in the hospital, in the camp where we were working, we were also faced with the possible risk of stray bullets, of armed men entering our hospital setting. Really, it's a crisis affecting everybody, and more action does need to be taken.
Look, we had late last month the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navi Pillay, saying, and I quote, that intercommunal hatred has reached a terrifying level. Now, Gail, as a psychologist, how do you begin dealing with the psychological impact of witnessing such violence, especially in young children who are at an impressionable age?
Absolutely. What we're seeing with young children in particular is that they are suffering the influence of trauma, symptoms of what we call post-traumatic stress. We see children who are experiencing nightmares, insomnia. They often experience a feeling of reliving events that they have seen. Many children have witnessed killing, have witnessed machete, gunshots, grenades, all types of violence in broad daylight on the street. And they are traumatized. I definitely saw children who acted out this trauma by playing games of war, imaginary guns, imaginary grenades. And psychologically speaking, that's a very deep and profound implication for the mental health of these children.
Yes. Now, we've had, and you've seen, some of the most horrific pictures coming out of the Central African Republic. You've been part of the team that conducted those initial assessments. What are the critical needs right now, Gail?
Right now, we're seeing very critical emergency needs. So just this weekend, we treated 28 victims of war. So those were people who came in with gunshot wounds, wounds from machetes and grenade shrapnel. And this seems to be happening on a daily basis. And of course, on top of that, the other medical needs don't stop. Women are still having children. People are still infected with HIV and tuberculosis. Malaria is one of the greatest concerns that we face, particularly now as the rainy season approaches there's an increased risk of malaria spreading even more around the camp.
How much of money do you need, Claire? How much do you hope to raise? And of course, no doubt you'll have to stretch this out. You've got 7 emergency projects around the country.
That's right. So with this campaign, we're hoping to raise 500,000 Rand. And everybody can contribute. Everybody can make a difference with that money.
All right. So how can members of the public donate?
There are 4 ways to donate. The one is by sending the text JOIN. The other is by visiting our website. That's www.msf.org.za. You can also call our toll-free number and speak to our face-to-face people who will be working in public settings like shopping centres to interact with the public here in South Africa more about the situation.
Thank you. That was Gail Wormsley, clinical psychologist with MSF. To donate online, SMS JOIN to 42110 or call toll-free 0800 000 331. Remember, just 100 Rand purifies 200,000 litres of water, providing 10,000 people with safe drinking water for a day. And 300 Rand, of course, will buy 5 weeks of food supplements and save the life of one malnourished child. Moving on to other news, armed police patrolled the streets of